Hello, this is the Pat McAfee Show, 10:01 Eastern Standard Time, 7:01 Pacific Time, and then all the other time zones, it is a time 1 minute after the hour. It sounds like there's a potential leak happening in the background because it is pouring down rain here in Indianapolis, Indiana. In the water from the roof, we have a flat roof. Dick just explained this to me. We have a flat roof. So all of the water from the roof, instead of just puddling and pooling up there, goes through these little things that all come through our studio, through a pipe right out the other side. So there might be a little bit of a relaxing noise in the background for literally the next 2 hours. Speaking of a relaxing noise, whenever Twitter became a buzz about the Giants potentially covering against the New England Patriots after I grabbed a Thor hammer and decided to swing it on the New England Patriots. In the first half of that NFL game last night, my Twitter was abuzz. Everybody telling me that I need to Venmo them $60. Here's my Venmo, cuz. You said swing the hammer on New England tonight. I did that. Danny Dimes and the Giants are somehow scoring points and staying in this game with the New England Patriots. My Twitter, when I say this, I mean this. I tweeted about the South Korean pop group BTS one time during the MTV VMAs a year ago. My Twitter was in the first half last night. My Twitter was very similar to the action that BTS got my Twitter. Everybody knows I'm a BTS fan, by the way. Let's see if we can get that Twitter going again in the K-pop world.
Of course.
Love BTS. How good are they?
Unreal.
Incredible.
Good singers, incredibly good looking.
Top one band of all time.
I would say that too. I would argue that whenever they sing into microphones, all the other bands that are like elite bands, they stop and go, how do we do more of what they're doing?
What are we even doing on stage?
That's what BTS does, is they embarrass other bands. And the clip ends there. And we just, for those that don't do the internet, we just pandered as hard as you can pander to a fan base that goes very ham on the internet whenever good things are said about a fan base.
Yes.
Or a band. Anyways, my Twitter was a buzz about Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, McDaniels not being able to get the job done with the minus 16.5, minus 17, wherever you got it, spread on Thursday Night Football. I, in a box truck that is 20 feet long, about 7 feet wide, went on a rant 2 times in the show yesterday, in the first hour and the second hour, saying, listen, I don't always get these right. In fact, normally when I do this, I am wrong. Happened with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I potentially ended a dynasty of the Pittsburgh Penguins last year, so I'm kind of going to stay off it again. Nick,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I apologize for that. But when I get on this high horse and I started yelling about how dumb Vegas is and how this is the moment we can take advantage of what Vegas has made a mistake. When I start talking about that, normally not good. And everybody that I know looks at me and says, Pat, please don't do what you're about to do. Please don't do what you're about to do. Yesterday, I went absolutely ham on this minus 16.5 because I know how hard it is to play in Foxborough. And that first half looked a little rough for all of us that had faith in me in this particular choice. Hockey, I don't know that well. I think I did it in baseball. I don't know that well. But in the NFL, especially when it comes to losing in Foxborough, I feel like I could tell you what it's like. Mostly because I was a spectator in the best seats in the house for some ass beatings in Foxborough. So last night when I saw a rookie quarterback was going to Foxborough with none of his weapons, and Tom Brady was playing football that particular evening, I knew that minus 16.5, minus 17 was a lock. In that first half, everybody doubted me. I was getting tweets telling me they were going to lose their house. Their babies weren't going to have diapers because of how ham I went on the Thor hammer. And I would like to say, I didn't get nearly as much thanks in that second half whenever that Patriots team started turning it around. And although it was a 21-point victory and they didn't put up a 50 burger on her, a 50 bomb on them, everybody had to know that was going to happen.
Never a doubt.
When they went to halftime or whatever, and I think it was 14-14 or something like that, it was tied. What did you guys think? You thought that the rookie quarterback and Shermer were going to go in at halftime in Foxborough and be like, all right, here's the adjustments we need to make. You thought they were going to do that over Belichick and Tom Brady and McDaniels? Like, when that thing went into halftime, we're calling our game, obviously, sloppy football game. I'll tell you what. That was a sloppy football game. I'm happy for NC State getting to win because NC State's coaches and their people were very nice to us, where Syracuse just basically refused to talk to us almost.
Nice.
Sure. Seems to happen every week.
It does. The team that is nice to us is normally the team that gets the win. By the way, because that team gets it.
Yes.
That's what that means. If they're talking to us, they get it. Which I think I would have never been a person whenever I was playing, because I didn't know these production meetings happened, where I would have said, like, nah, they can't hear what I want to do this week. Never. I don't think I would have ever done that. But I could see how some people are like, you know what, we don't want to give things up. So you go into these conversations with a plan. But the fact that you like become like very, just the least amount of accessibility possible, that makes it very difficult for the people that are talking about the game to talk about the game, unless they have to study every single play that you had this year. Which, by the way, I'm going to let it be known, and Mickey Mouse might not appreciate this.
Sure.
I do not do that. I do not watch.
You don't have time to.
I don't. Listen, and I'm sure that the games deserve that type of dedication and stuff like that. I should watch every single play, which probably make me a better analyst, by the way. But I got like 7 jobs, so that just can't happen, right? I have
no
to.
way. Yeah.
You're human.
That just can't happen. It just can't happen at this point. So I don't get to do that. So when teams don't tell me stuff, what to look for, what to sell, it's very difficult for me to do my particular style of analyzing games. NC State, guy that recruited me to West Virginia, is one of their D coordinators. He was like, hey, dog, listen, what do you need from me? Now, granted, he's known me since I'm 17 years old. He's literally sat at lunch with me in my high school cafeteria. That guy and I know each other well. He was very nice, and I'm happy his defense was suffocating last night, by the way. It was awesome to see. But while we're calling that game, that was tough to watch.
Very tough.
Great to listen to, though.
Great to listen to. Almost could just listen to the audio during the other game.
Oh, so you're saying maybe it's like a double thing. We watch the game that probably has really good football, and then you listen to just 3 dudes and a by the way, Molly, I guess she was in bad spots last night. They weren't letting her get access to anything. I guess that was the stadium. Molly McGrath has to literally, like, to get things on the sideline. I didn't know this, by the way, because I would only see the sideline reporters over by my kicking net or whatever. I give it like Michelle Tafoya, like a what's up or whatever. They have to like really, like people are trying to, these haters trying to hold them back. Like there are people trying to hold them back. Like Molly had to like work to get into things, to hear things, so she can be like, hey, she tells us in her ear, like, hey, just heard the coach say this to this, so look for this, right? Which is a massive piece of intel. And Molly's very good at that. Couldn't do any of that. So, I mean, last night was tough. But us 3 and Molly, I think we call a pretty fun game. Like, I think it's a pretty entertaining thing. Not everybody's going to like it. A lot of people hate it. But while we're calling that game, every once in a while I'll check my Twitter. I'll be like, I just made a Bagel Boss reference. It has to be. And I'll see that. And then I'm like, looking, I'm like, oh, okay, people are listening. I appreciate that. Every once in a while I'll get a guy that says he hates me or whatever. I'm like, okay, good, doing my job. That's what we're looking for. We at least we need a couple people to hate me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then my tweets were just bashing me. Not a single time in that second half did anybody send me a tweet like, Pat, in the first half, I came after you pretty strong there. And I just want to let you know it all came back around, even though I bet my mortgage on this thing, and I'm going to double it because you swung your hammer so hard. Not a single person said that, but I don't know how anybody thought the Giants were going to win in that second half up there. I don't know how anybody thought that. Because whenever Tom Brady and Bill Belichick need to do something, they do it. And Julian Edelman, which we talked about on the podcast with Hasselbeck, potentially my fault that Julian Edelman's in the NFL, because if I go to Kent State, Julian Edelman and I probably pretty tight. I think what Hasselbeck was saying is I would be a bad influence.
That is what he was saying.
But I think we would have been pretty good influences on each other. We're probably massive YouTube stars. Yes. We're probably making more money than he's making. More money than I made in the NFL on YouTube. So people have said that it's potentially my fault. But that Patriots team, from the defense to their special teams to their offense, which is going to find a way, once again, we're in a situation where the Patriots are where everything's going to run through. And I said that the Colts can win the Super Bowl this year, and I like them to win the Super Bowl this year because of that offensive line. We're going to have to. We're going to have to win in New England. It's just what's going to happen. Kansas City Chiefs, yes, incredible football team. Patrick Mahomes looks like he's back, by the way. Incredible healing ability. In the way he was running, I'd assume they'd be able to manage that from a pain threshold standpoint on Sunday. He'll be all the way back against the Texans. Look for him to dominate. Look for that to be a great game, by the way. Deshaun Watson and
What a
Shootout.
matchup between
Patrick Mahomes.
quarterbacks. Yeah.
But everybody knows in the AFC, till death do us part, it's going to go through Tom Brady and the Patriots. And last night in the second half, they proved that. Redskins second half, they proved that, by the way. Halftime adjustments have been something that it's almost like the Patriots have gone into this year and they say, you know what? Let's just go ahead and like kind of jab in the first half. And then let's practice our halftime adjustments so that when the real season happens after Thanksgiving, which is what Belichick believes, real football doesn't start till after Thanksgiving, a weakness of ours might have been the way we adjusted at halftime. Let's work on that the first 10 weeks. So let's just give people a good first half. And then in the second half, let's just go ahead and bury teams.
Yeah.
That's what they can do at any given moment.
Because Tommy did not look great in the first half. And then I looked at his numbers at the end of the game, and he was 31 of 41 for like 3-something. They just came out at half and decided, we're actually going to start playing now.
Well, in their special teams, by the way, in defense,
Yeah, I mean, they're
Elite.
I sent Riley Dixon, the punter for the Giants, a DM this morning. I was like, nightmare situation for you last night. I heard it was like 35-mile-an-hour winds, which can really get moving in that stadium because it's open on one end, so it can get going. Then he punts the ball into his own guy, which means that you're not feeling safe back there. Like, there's no thought of like, okay, I got a nice clean pocket. I just punted the ball off the back of one of my own guys' heads. My guy got driven back so far in a job where he's supposed to keep people up there. A good bull rush can really not only – it obviously messed up a punt, but mentally for the rest of the game, now you have to worry about that guy potentially getting blown up in your face. And for me, I sent him a DM. I was like, hey, bud, saw the punt off the guy's head that led to a touchdown, by the way. So not only did you get a block punt, which is negative net, okay, your season average just hits. But not only was it not the other team that did it, it was your own team. You hit him right off the head. Going to be on a not top 10. Not only all of that, but also they scored a touchdown. I said, I don't know how I would have handled the situation. I'm sure you're doing much better than me. But just know, T's and P's, bro. A lot of empathy for me over here for you. And he responded like, what are you going to do, Pat? There's nothing I can do. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know what his get-off was or his op or how long the steps were. But anytime you're hitting the ball into your own guy, that is not only a problem for that punt, that is a problem for the rest of them because you're like, well, if my own guy is getting driven past me, let's wonder what's going to happen next time. There was a time where I had to dodge one of my own players. After I punted it, he was getting driven back at such a rapid rate that I had to, like, olay my own guy. And that guy just kept driving him all the way back. So, like, while I'm covering, I'm literally watching behind me just to see if those two were ever going to catch up. They didn't. Something happened where he blocked the guy for long enough, and then he must have lost it or something, and instead of just going down, he was just backpedaling. So these two were just running, sprinting. He was backpedaling in a fast rate, and the other guy was just pushing. They just sprinted right by me. The guy could have demolished me, probably blocked the punt if he wanted to, but instead they just ran. But for the next punt, all I was thinking about whenever the snap was coming out was like, all right, let's hope that guy doesn't get into a tango session where they're just going wherever the hell he wants them to. And that can be something. So I'm excited. That's 2 touchdowns now on block punts for the New England Patriots.
I'll be interested to see if they make some sort of move here because Josh Gordon's been banged up. Once he went out and Edelman's banged up too, I have no idea who else. I didn't know one of the names that Tom Brady was throwing to.
Zach Taylor said that they aren't going to trade A.J. Green. Keyshawn Johnson late night last night looked in the camera and did like a plea thing with A.J. Green, like, please ask for a trade. That's what Key said. Key said, listen, Bengals, you guys can get a lot of good assets for him. You can build a team that isn't good right now. He said, but please don't be like Larry Fitzgerald, man. Please. That's what Keyshawn said. He said, AJ, you are so good. And you are just your entire career is just getting wasted, is what Keyshawn Johnson said. And I was laughing. It was like 3 a.m. at my house. I was thinking about watching El Camino, which I know nothing about, by the way. I've never seen Breaking Bad, but I saw everybody talking about it, and we were up at 3 a.m., so I was like, am I going to watch this? And then I turn on ESPN, and Keyshawn Johnson is doing this plea thing for A.J. Green. And I think personally that Keyshawn Johnson does carry a little bit of weight. It'd be interesting to see A.J. Green watching that, whether he's like, man, I'm with you, Key. Just keep saying it louder. Or if he's like, oh, Keyshawn, you're putting me in a terrible spot right now. And I think the thing about AJ Green is he's going to say all the right things, I'd assume.
He always has.
The Cincinnati Bengals are going to say, but he's been very, very professional through everything. And people forget, whenever he was playing college football, it was like a Julio Jones type reaction.
Yeah.
AJ Green can dominate games. And he's just been nothing but humble through this all. And I think that's where Keyshawn was like, hey, Larry was also a super good guy, and he has a lot of records, but man, he'll never have a chance to, even though the Arizona Cardinals made it to a Super Bowl, which
Great Super Bowl.
these Bengals ain't never going to do.
No.
way.
But he's like, basically like, don't let it happen. I'll be excited to see. We have an incredible guest on the other side. A guy whose name is synonymous with the NFL, even though he's no relation. He's got a good football brain. He's going to chat about everything that happened last night. I'm happy the Patriots covered, though, for the team.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Because I also put a handsome amount of... Everybody's coming at me like, you owe me $60, which by the way, there was a chance I would just start sending anonymous Venmos to people because of how hard I went and how many tweets I was getting. But I think I might ask for a Venmo, too, from somebody. Maybe Tom. Maybe send it right to Belichick. Like, hey, man, I don't know if you saw, but I really went hard on you guys to win. And it didn't happen. I was just wondering. Could you imagine asking Bill Belichick to Venmo you?
Venmo request from Pat McAfee pops up on his phone.
That would be awesome. 10:17. Michael Lombardi's on the other side of the break. Talk things, all things NFL. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is 10:21 Eastern Standard Time here on this beautiful Friday, October 11, 2019. We're back in Indianapolis, Indiana. All the boys are here. We got Todd, Nick, Diggs, Ty, my brother Jason, Zito, Evan, Foxy. There's a little bit of a rainstorm in the background. We apologize. The roof could be caving in, but it's not because of some water being filtered through the studio. Joining us now is a man who, up until 2016, was an assistant to the coaching staff in New England. This man knows what a winning franchise is built upon. He was an executive with the 49ers, the Browns, the Eagles, and the Raiders. He hosts a gambling show on VSiN, which is Diggs' favorite show.
It's the best.
Diggs added that into the notes for me to read. He has a show with Adnan Verk, who I almost called Adam Van Kirk. Good man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Michael Lombardi.
How are you, Pat? I'm wearing a Hickory High sweatshirt in your honor.
Hey, okay. That basketball hoop is 10 feet high right there, right down the road here at, what's the stadium?
Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Hinkle Fieldhouse. It gets it going. I am an official Hoosier because I have a jump shot and I'm a white guy. You look good, Mr. Lombardi, by the way. You look very good.
Thank you. I'm an old man, but thank you.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. And then you came on here and you look very young and good. Paisans, you guys do that. Okay, let's talk about last night.
Yeah.
I said the 16.5 spread was nowhere near enough, especially on a short week going into New England with a rookie quarterback with a lot of hurt weapons. I thought that thing should have been 24. Apparently, it should have been 21. I think this Patriots team is always going to find a way to win. Even when Tom looks rough, it's with the defense now. Does the AFC Championship still run through New England? And is this team going to be able to figure it out on the offensive side of the ball to continue to be the juggernaut that they have been?
You know, everybody thinks that Antonio Brown was a luxury for him, Pat, but really Antonio Brown was a necessity for him. They need another receiver. I think we saw that last night. It was the ugliest 21-point cover you're ever going to see.
Ever.
All right, and I think inside that building in Foxborough, they're not happy today at all. I know Tom Brady's probably miserable because he got hit way too much. He's out there with Arena League receivers, really. I mean, that's the problem. They got to get better skill. Julian Edelman, they doubled him on almost every play. The Patriots will be better in December on offense. They need Isaiah Wynn back at left tackle. They need to get better at center. Ted Karras is the backup. But they got to figure out a better way to attack the middle of the field. Without Gronk, without Antonio Brown, they're one receiver short inside. I bet they'll make a trade within the next 2 weeks.
Gronk made his appearance on Fox last night. It was exactly what you thought it was going to be from Gronk, and some people hate him, some people love him. There's haters, there's lovers. He said that he'll always leave the door open, but, I mean, just like Chris Carter said this morning, it was only like a month ago where he was crying, talking about how football didn't make him happy anymore. I think he's enjoying his life. It's going to take a lot to get past that, I think. We'll see if it's this year, if it's not this year, but if they continue to not have weapons, and Gronk, who's a good friend with everybody on that team, you have to imagine that not only Tom, but Julian and other guys are like, hey, we need a weapon. You're saying they're going to trade in the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying it's Gronk. I don't think Gronk's coming back. I said that whenever he retired, especially after the CBD press conference he put. Who is somebody you think that would potentially land in New England? Because you have to remember, nobody's just going to trade away a good player to the New England Patriots. That's just not going to happen. Who do you think is a potential free agent, or not free agent, a trade?
I think Mohamed Sanu from Atlanta. They tried to trade for Mohamed Sanu in March. Thought they had a deal with him in March, and then Atlanta kind of backed out of him because Dan Quinn felt like, hey, I need this guy this year. Emmanuel Sanders would be another name. You guys were talking about A.J. Green. I'm sure they would love to grab A.J. Green. Mike Brown's impossible to trade with. Belichick has a good relationship with Mike Brown. They go back a while. But Mike Brown's difficult to trade with, and A.J. Green is just going to lose his career there. I mean, it's just unfortunate for a guy as great as he is to have to play his career there. I would suspect they're making a lot of calls. Look, here's the thing about Gronk. Gronk's probably gotten 10 texts a day from Brady. He's probably got 20 from Edelman. He's probably gotten a zillion from Josh McDaniels. Please come back. And he hasn't responded to him. And even if he comes back, Pat, you know, look how skinny he is. He's not going to be the same guy that we remember the Gronk of before. So I think you need to put that behind you and say, look, he's not coming back. Even if he comes back, he won't be good enough. So we need to find somebody that can help our offense because Brady is probably furious today with what happened last night.
Okay, let's pivot. I agree. Even though they covered, I'm happy. Everybody else is happy. That's why the Patriots are the Patriots, because Belichick's probably chewing people out this morning, which that's what makes the great teams great. You said Gronk's body looks small. I agree. Another person that doesn't look small, who was back in a building yesterday after retiring just 16 days before the season started. Andrew Luck was back in the Indianapolis Colts facility yesterday. I sent a text to the Colts PR guy after Amp Harris, who's a local promoter who does a lot of incredible things in the community, was at the Colts facility with Mike Epps. He posted a photo. It showed up on my timeline. I go, wait a minute, what the hell is this? I text the Colts PR guy. I'm like, is Luck back in the building? And he was like, I do believe that picture is from the day. Wouldn't guarantee it, but he said, I do believe that is from the day. Have you ever seen a situation like that where a guy retires 15 days before a season starts because he says his joy has been lost, and then during that season, first half of the season, during a bye week, he's back in the building? And what should we make of this in your professional opinion as an executive, former consultant, a man who's been around the NFL for a long time? Should I be digging into this as much as I am?
Yeah, I think, look, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to know this one. You got to get into this. Hey, the most exciting thing about the potential of him coming back, well, that guy that does the Andrew Luck parody account, because that really would make me happy. I've missed that guy tremendously. I've missed that. Mother, I'm coming home. But look, I think some guy, Pat, guys retire because their body hurts, but then after their bodies feel better, they want to go back and play again. It wouldn't surprise me if he wants to come back. Maybe not this year, but next year. And I think the Colts have done a great job of messaging. Like, look, Jacoby Brissett's our quarterback. We're going to move forward. I think they've got a good team. They finally, last week, they played more man than they did. They can't play Tampa 2 and think they're going to win games. They got to get into some man-to-man, and they did it against the Chiefs, and it proved to be successful. And I think that's going to be the key to their season.
I think Matt Patricia kind of laid the blueprint there for that particular style to defeat the Patrick Mahomes offenses. You got to just have trust and faith in your corners to go, man, Tampa 2, you can beat the hell up down the seam, which is what, by the way, people are taking advantage of right now in the NFL. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, that ankle injury is one that can be tough, especially for a mobile guy. They just showed him in practice yesterday. He's moving around. He looked good. There are ways to handle pain in the NFL, especially for games. I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes does any of that. I'm just saying there are ways to do it. What do you think Patrick Mahomes is going to look like this weekend in a highly talked about matchup against Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans?
Well, I think he'll look good. Look, the key to stopping Patrick Mahomes and the key to stopping any great quarterback, whether it's Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Patrick Mahomes, is how you rush him. And you've got to rush him and keep him in the pocket. All those plays that Mahomes makes when he gets out of the pocket, he has no down and distance, and the field is unlimited to where he can throw the football. So you got to be able to control him in the pocket. And with an ankle injury, he can't move. That second half against the Colts, he couldn't move, and it really shut down their offense.
He was inaccurate as well. He was inaccurate for like the first time I think I've seen in a long time in the pocket.
No doubt. That's why baseball pitchers run in the outfield. Their legs are what drives them, and that's what quarterbacks need. They need their lower body to drive the football. But I think when I look at the Chiefs team, Pat, I think they're the fat guy at the buffet line that can't wait to eat, right? Everybody thinks they're the Golden State Warriors. They're not. They're the Houston Rockets. They play no defense, but Andy Reid does nothing to help the defense. They're playing 35 minutes of defense a night, right? You can't be good and win games if you're playing 35 minutes and only playing 25 minutes of offense. Now, look, their 25 minutes of offense is sensational, right? They'll score and no problem. They'll get the lead. They do all that. But at 35 minutes, what that tells you, and what I talk about on the Lombardi line on weekends, is they're susceptible to the backdoor cover constantly because they play no defense and they can't stop the run. They've given up over 300 yards rushing at home in the last 2 games. And they haven't been a dominant team at home. I think they've got to play complementary football. They've got to run the ball a little bit more and take the burden off of Mahomes and stop eating so fast at the buffet line.
Oh, my God. That backdoor cover against the Chiefs, is that your favorite bet every single week going in? Like, for instance,
you have to look at it, right?
When I started gambling after I retired, I gambled on some things I shouldn't gamble. I did college football. I'm like, you know what? I don't know enough about – and I don't know the regulars regularities of college football. I gambled on basketball a little bit. I don't know anything about that. I only know what people tell me. But when I was gambling on the NFL, I felt pretty good, and I still feel pretty good because I feel like I have a little bit of more information after being there because I go with how people feel more so than what they're supposed to do. I like to judge the player in the game and the situation as opposed to, oh, this is what they've done in the last couple of weeks. So it's a little bit different, and I think people laughed at me there for a little bit, but I've pocketed a lot of money doing this. And my favorite bet there for a while was the Patriots cover, or Patriots over on their own score. I just thought that McDaniels and Tom Brady, no matter what it was, they were going to, in the second half, it was the second half Patriots over, was my favorite bet. Each week, it was just like 100% or no problem. This is what it's going to be. Whatever they're thinking it's going to be, I just assumed that Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady at halftime are going to figure it out better. That was my hammer home, and I think they caught on to me, actually, and they started raising it, I started losing, and I had to pivot. That backdoor cover for the Chiefs, is that your thing you look for whenever you're each week?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what's
especially when it's in double digits like it is, like it was against the Ravens game, like it was last week against, I mean, the Colts are getting 11. I mean, I thought that was the steal. I picked 5 games on my podcast, the GM Shuffle, and I had that as one of the locks because I knew the Colts were going to score. I knew the Colts were going to run the ball. Did I think the Colts were going to win? No, I'm not clairvoyant. I didn't know that, right? But I thought that the way the Chiefs are so bad on defense, plus they don't keep the ball away from you. Last night, the Patriots had the ball 39 minutes. 39 minutes. Danny Dimes couldn't do anything in 20 minutes. He wasn't on a cover in 20 minutes, right? He was never going to make up a 17-point spread in 20 minutes. And that's the way you have to look at it, how teams play complementary football. That's what I like about that. Now, this week against Houston, it's a really they lowered the line a little bit. I think they're onto it. And, that line, especially the way Houston's inconsistencies, but with Deshaun Watson, they're going to torch that secondary, and they're going to run the football on them. And with Mahomes slightly injured, it could be problematic for him.
San Francisco 49ers put on a dominant performance on Monday. Got lost in the shuffle because of the DAP gate that we, by the way, buried here on the show. Happy we could take care of that for everybody. That 49ers team, I don't think I know enough about them. Is Monday what they are, or are they going to be a dominant team the rest of the year? I like the way Kyle Shanahan coaches over there.
Well, no, Kyle's a really good coach. Look, here's what they are. They are a great front team. They're really good in the front seven. I mean, it's hard to block those guys. Buckner, Armstead, D. Ford, Bosa, the rookie. They've got Ron Blair is one of the good players that nobody knows about from Appalachian State. They picked in the 3rd round 4 years ago. He's really a good player. So they've got really good defensive linemen. And then they can run the football. And here's what makes them so successful is Kyle Shanahan believes, like Belichick and all the really good coaches, is the most important stat in football is first half point differential. We've got to get the lead in the first half. And if we get the lead in the first half, our defense will take over the game. Our defense will turn a 10-point lead into a 17-point lead with a turnover. And that's what makes them so effective. They're playing the Rams. The Rams haven't run for 100 yards, Pat, in the last 3 weeks. Todd Gurley's only carried the ball 12 times on average in the last since really the big game.
Why is that?
Kansas.
Hey, why
He's
is that?
hurt. He's not the same. When he came out of college, Pat, everybody said, look, he's going to play. It'll be a short career. He's got a degenerate knee. Now he's got a thigh. He's a great player. He's a great player.
Gotcha.
But he's got a degenerate knee. And this is a tough matchup for the Rams because even though they've dominated him 3-1 over the series since Shanahan's been there and McVay's been there, they've not really been able to slow down the 49ers with their defense. And I think it's going to be problematic. The Rams' offensive line is not really good enough to drop back and pass. And if they can't run the ball, the 49ers will win. Now, I took the Rams because I think, like you do, on feel, I think this is a must-win for the Rams. And having some time off, I think they'll show that they can play. But I think it's going to be a long year for the Rams.
You can listen to Lombardi's Incredible Brain on VSiN. Brent Musburger's over there. Lombardi's there. A lot of gambling conversation from a lot of very smart men who have made money. Our Degenerate probably has a question here. He's a massive fan, by the way. He's the one that said in the notes that this is your show with your gambling show on VSiN is his favorite show.
It's the best. I listen every weekend. I have a question for you.
He's also an Italian. I mean,
yeah.
Well, we stick together, right? We all look alike and we stick together.
I want to ask you about what looks like the trap line of the weekend. Why is the Jacksonville Jaguars favored against the New Orleans Saints, even though they're at home?
I think it's Gardner Minshew. I really do. I think Gardner Minshew is a candidate for Rookie of the Year, and I think that the way they're running their offense is way different. I think with Fournette and Nick Foles in the game, right? Fournette is not an eye back. I mean, Fournette's not a shotgun back. He's not going to get going. He's what we call a point of entry back, meaning he's got to get fed into the hole, right? And when you're in shotgun, there's nobody to help you get into the hole. But now that they've moved to a more conventional offense where they're in a two-back set, he's got a lead blocker, which helps him feed him in the hole. Now, all of a sudden, this big man's hard to handle. And Minshew can make plays, and DJ Chark's been really good. So I think offensively, they're going to challenge the Saints. And I think defensively, if they get Jalen Ramsey back to take away and really just line up against Michael Thomas, I think they can put some pressure on the Saints, especially on the road. So I think that's why I like the Jags here a lot. I think the Jags have been playing well. They had Carolina. I mean, they had it down to the last second. Ron Rivera was trying to help them out as much as he could. He really was. And I took Carolina in that game, but I thought I was going to get beat there for a long time.
Christian McCaffrey has been nothing short of impeccable now that it's his show. That is his show now that Cam Newton's out with Mrs. Frank on his foot. That is Christian McCaffrey's team. The lock of the weekend for you is what?
You know, that's a great question. I had Jacksonville as my lock of the week. I like this. That makes no sense at all, right? But I do like the Browns. And you look at the numbers on the Browns thing; they're horrible. Baker Mayfield needs to be not in shotgun; he needs to be under center in a two-back set. They need to run Nick Chubb. I think they will. Seattle's run defense. People don't realize this. The last 10 games they played at home, they've given up over 100 yards a game rushing. They can't play run defense anymore in Seattle. I think the Browns, when they can run the ball with Nick Chubb, I think they'll move it. I think it's a desperate situation there in Cleveland. I do like Cleveland. Don't ask me why. Contrarian pick. I have no idea, but I like that pick a lot. I like that one. I also like Carolina to beat Tampa. I think McCaffrey is on pace to have 300 carries this year. They're going to wear his butt out, right? Yeah. And so, but they'll attack this Tampa Bay because I'm convinced that Jameis Winston doesn't know what color jersey his team wears. I'm convinced of it, right? Equipment managers should tell him every week what color. Look, James.
They've been winning. They've been doing okay.
Today, right?
They've been doing okay.
Yeah, Pat. You're not watching. When you watch the games, he threw 2 that got called back for penalties.
Oh,
he had 2 that got called back for penalties. They still look bad. So I like Carolina too. I like them to win. I think it's hard to beat a team twice in one season. As you.
They're talking about Odell Beckham trade rumors. I don't know if that's Odell Beckham's people starting that because he's been so professional. I don't know if that's been the organization. Jalen Ramsey wanted out. I mean, the Antonio Brown situation, Melvin Gordon situation, Ezekiel Elliott situation. I mean, you go through it. There's a lot of people utilizing their leverage right now. Odell Beckham has handled this entire situation very well. Jalen Ramsey and Mr. Khan, I guess, had a very good conversation, a heart-to-heart that has turned things around. As a man who'd been around the NFL for so long, in both sides there, in both coaching and also front office, so you get a chance to deal with the players and the business side of it. What do you think of the entire NFL and the way it is right now with the players?
Well, I think that you know this better than anybody. If you're not honest with players, you're going to lose them. You can't lie to players, right?
And players can know it, too. Players sense it.
They know it. They know you're lying to them, and they'd rather hear bad news than lie news, right? So you just got to be a man and face up to them and say, hey, you're not playing good enough. We don't think you're doing this. You need to do that. And I don't think we have enough guys doing that. I think we're too busy trying to get elected to become head coaches. Because let's face it, Pat, guys see Zach Taylor become a head coach, see Matt LaFleur become a head coach. They get jealous and envious. They want to be one too, and they say, how do I do it? Well, I got to have a good PR campaign because to become a head coach in the NFL is elected, not selected. You're not selected on your merit. You're elected by your electability. If you have a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, man, you're a head coaching candidate. You got it right now. So I think that's the real problem is nobody's being really honest with the players. Like, hey, brother, this is what we got to do, and take responsibility. Like, we're not good enough. We're lying to each other. Atlanta, that's what they do all the time. They lie. Hey, no bad, my bad. It's too many my bads. When you have my bads in your organization, you ain't winning.
Tom Moore, legendary offensive mind in the NFL. He backed up Johnny Unitas, I believe. He was Peyton's guy. Then he was in Arizona. Now he's in Tampa, I believe. He had this distinct voice where he talked like this. He said, don't say my bad, say I fornicated up. It's such a beautiful quote. Mr. Lombardi, this was an incredible conversation, man. You are very talented, and your brain is a good one. I wish I would have been able to talk to you sooner, but I'm very thankful you joined us today.
Anytime, Pat. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Good luck. I love watching this, so good luck.
I appreciate it. Are you in Vegas?
No. I'm in a little beach town called Ocean City. I work out of the casino in the Borgata, which is an incredible property on weekends, Saturday and Sunday there. A lot of Eagle fans. Tough to take. A lot of Eagle fans. They were like the old lady the homeless lady with crying she doesn't have, they're crying all the time. Well, we can't beat the Jets by 14. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they ask you for your advice and then they do the opposite.
Hey, sometimes the fader is not a bad move too. Is that Ocean City, New Jersey? Yeah.
You bet. Ocean City, New Jersey. Yeah. So I'm here in this little town, and then I go over Atlantic City, and I do it from there. So I do my podcast from here, and I work over there. So it's perfect. I've got a great situation.
All right. If you walk down there on the boardwalk and you go out to the beach, if you can find my eardrum from my junior year of college, I Baywatched into that beach there. About 8 a.m., we drove overnight for spring break. I went to punch a wave, and the wave hit back. It broke on my ear, popped my eardrum. Haven't been able to swim since.
Oh, man. No, this is a great town.
Great town.
I'll find it for you. We'll go out there. Sometimes a lot of stuff washes up. I got 2 hunting dogs. They'll go out there and find it for you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Lombardi. Absolutely incredible. We got to get to a break. 10:41 here on this Friday, October 11th, 2019. That was incredible. How about Diggs? That was such a magical moment in my life. Diggs going, what? This is a trap game. This is insanity. He's like, well, actually, that's my lock.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because everyone wants to take the Saints. They see the Saints as getting points. You're like, well, I'm going to take the points. Nope. You got to go.
He was really
Doesn't
good.
make sense.
Yeah, very insightful.
That was incredible. That point of attack running back, Leonard Fournette, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because in LSU, whenever he was dominant, you just remember him downhill running folks over. He was like 40. Everybody else looked like they were 10. That's what Leonard Fournette looked like. He went out to Montana, I guess, and had a rebirth this offseason, too. Like Nick Foles went out there.
Yeah, turned his life around.
Jacksonville Jaguars, what if they're the truth, man? Then all of a sudden, the AFC South, by the way, just a couple years ago, complete laughingstock. Now it's like really good teams out of nowhere. What do they do with Nick Foles when he gets back healthy? I don't know. I got a lot of questions. I guess we can figure him out. 10:43, you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. It is 10:48 here, Eastern Standard Time in America, Friday, October 11th. And I would like to officially announce that BTS K-pop Twitter has gotten a hold of our clip, and we are all the way in. And I would like to let BTS Twitter know that we've been with BTS for like a year and a half now. I didn't know of them until an award show, and every time their face was shown on a screen, I realized, oh, these dudes got the juice.
Magnetic.
Magnetic,
Changing the
electric,
game.
nuclear, some would say. I became a fan that day. I said, listen, the music is definitely not meant for me to enjoy, but it's all I listen to on my Spotify.
Yep.
You guys hear me? Literally, I walk in, it's just K-pop, BTS, blaring. And I've got into other K-pop a little bit too, by the way, because of BTS introduction. So it's good for the entire genre. But when I walk into work and I have that, I just know it's going to be a good day because it takes me back to the days where there's incredible talent singing, the dancing, and the way they've been able to not only market themselves, but adore themselves to their fans because they're so appreciative of it. That is what I am here for with the BTS fan. And that's why I love them.
But as we have K-pop on in the office all day long,
Yes.
and we do listen to other K-pop, no one holds a candle to BTS.
I agree. We agree.
There hasn't been this big of a cultural impact since the Beatles. And you could argue that these guys compared to the Beatles, I mean, it's not, no competition.
Yeah, I agree. So welcome, BTS fans, to the show. We're very thankful to be in the BTS Twitter. This is the Pat McAfee Show here in Indianapolis, Indiana, talking sports. American football is something that happens. It happened last night. The New England Patriots are our team that has been for those listening on Westwood One across the country here, or maybe watching on DAZN. I appreciate you all. We know you. But right now, we are very deep into BTS Twitter. There's a lot of people watching this show for the first time who potentially have no idea that NFL football exists. So it's our job to enlighten them.
I like this. You're bringing new people to football.
Hey, Goodell, you're welcome, by the way.
Hey,
now's the
what are we
time to
doing
get
here?
rid of Alberto Riveron. If we are going to bring in an entire fan base like BTS, if we're going to bring in an entire, maybe continent over there, an entire country to the game of football, which, by the way, we're okay with doing. We're okay with being ambassadors for the game. I was very lucky to be in the NFL. The NFL in the Shield holds people to a different accountability level than what you would expect. The NFL says it is not a right to be in the NFL. It is an honor to be in the NFL. You have to cherish your position in the NFL. If you're a player and you do things wrong, you get kicked out of the league.
Sure.
You can get blackballed from the league, which a lot of people would argue Colin Kaepernick has happened because although he is definitely better than some quarterbacks in the league right now, still hasn't gotten a job. Could be because of whether he likes it or not, the attention that would be drawn to a team that he comes to where it's already difficult enough to win a game. So when your backup quarterback or starting quarterback, by the way, there's a lot of places he could start at, brings a lot of attention. Or it could just be a complete blacklist that has happened that nobody wants to talk about that everybody kind of have seen. You know, I mean, their excuses, well, it brings a lot of distraction. But everybody watching is like, hey, man, he's better than this guy for sure. And everybody that's watching goes, hey, this Alberto Riveron guy is trash at his job. Alberto Riveron, I've never met him personally, probably a good guy. I mean, I can only assume that he probably has a family, so I don't want to be too bad on him as a person. But in his particular position right now, as the guy that oversees the reviews, as the judge, jury, and executioner who has gotten this role because all the good refs have went to television because the NFL fails to match the pay of whatever television pays, Alberto Riveron absolutely stinks at his job as the head ref guy. He absolutely stinks.
I've never had any delusions that I could ever hold any job in the NFL until this season. I'm like, I could do his job. I could do his job better than he's doing it.
Because it's a job that we are literally asked to do as fans. We are asked to do Alberto Riveron's job as fans because they're using the same cameras as the television.
Yes.
So when the TV plays a replay, when you're at home and at the game, they play it on the Jumbotron. So literally every human that has eyes on this game is asked to review a call alongside Alberto Riveron. So when you are doing the same exact thing as somebody at home with zero difference, it's not like there's people running in your face. No. It's not like there's a potential chance to get tackled. You're literally sitting in a chair, probably just like Alberto Riveron is. Mm-hmm. He probably has a better setup than you, to be honest with you, because the NFL has set it up. He probably has better food, better drinks around him. He probably has the ability to change to different replays that we don't have at home. We have to live and die with whatever the production truck does.
Yes.
He has the ability to say, hey, bring me this one, actually. Hey, you know what? That one that they just played on television, let's run that back again instead of running the one that has no eyes on it 4 times in a row, which some TV companies do. That I get so upset. I'm like, just go back to that one. We all know it's coming back to that one. We all know it's going through that one. He has the ability to do that. So it is very hard for us not to say, hey, I could do that job. I literally started thinking that just a couple days ago. I was like, what if Roger Goodell did see all my tweets and all these videos against Alberto Riveron, who I think is legitimately ruining the game? I think he's ruining games. I think he's unifying a country.
Yeah.
He's unifying a country. And hate is something that can really bring people together. And every football fan hates this guy right now. Everybody. Nothing brings people together. Now, granted, that call last night that was no overturn helped to cover for the Patriots.
It
helped immensely. But this is a job that I actually thought to myself, I could do it. You know what I can't do? I can't be a member of BTS because those kids are way too talented.
Too talented.
I can't be a member of any K-pop because I don't have the rhythmic ability to keep incredible tones the entire time. But when it comes to this Alberto Riveron gig, I, alongside Todd, who has never played in the NFL, never gone to a ref course, has never been screwed over by a call personally on a team,
never.
And I think many other people around the country think, we can do that job, Commish, and that is not how you should be viewing a very important job in the NFL.
It should pay minimum wage. It should pay minimum wage because it could be done by anyone.
Well, I think that is the problem. Commissioner Goodell can make a change and actually have a good PR spin for one time. Will he do it? I don't know. The league needs it, though. 10:55, we'll be back on the other side. Go BTS.
I don't think you realize what you've walked into.
Mark my words, that mother is going down.
I'm gonna murder that dude, bro.
I finish you off and end your career.
어디 숨어 있었던 거야 나를 사로잡아 버렸어 랄랄라 너의 몸은 눈이 부셔 너의 몸은 눈이 부셔 이렇게 계속해줘
It's a BTS Friday, although this is not BTS because we do not have rights to play their music. It is a little K-pop to lift your day because K-pop is honestly the greatest music ever created. And BTS, if you haven't checked them out, please do because all they do is make bangers. It is 11:01 here on this sports show, Friday, October 11th, 2019 from Indianapolis, Indiana. 1-833-622-3331. Todd has gone back into his hole. He'll be answering some calls. We will close out the show here on this Feel Good BTS Friday. The last half hour will be dedicated to the phone lines. Be good, though, please. Be good whenever you talk into the phone. We are trying to do a show that's entertaining millions and millions of BTS fans currently and people that watch our show on other days.
Just have a quick hook today.
Last night, the Patriots covered the 16.5-point spread, and it was never in doubt. And the reason why we are mentioning BTS so much, because in the first hour, I compared my Twitter in the first half after my grandstand on the Patriots definitely covering to my Twitter the evening I found out who BTS was. And I said, these BTS dudes got the juice. The BTS fan base is an incredibly active, loyal, and passionate one. They took my tweet and ran that thing up for the next 2 days. That was what my Twitter was like yesterday in the first half of that Patriots-Giants game. Well, Giants at Patriots game. Everybody was excited for me to fall. Everybody was excited for me to be wrong. Pat, Venmo me 60. Venmo me 40. I bet on it because you grabbed Thor's hammer, not his.
Right. They know.
Like Thor's.
Yeah.
His
wrench.
His weapon.
Not his wrench.
His hammer.
Shout out to Biz Nasty, by the way. His hammer, and hammer the Patriots minus 16.5. And a lot of people did that with our friends at FanDuel, as they should have, because FanDuel has the best odds for you. I said this was a lock of all locks, having a rookie quarterback going into New England and taking on the dynasty that is the New England Patriots on a short week with none of the offensive weapons that you would need to win. Other than Golden Tate, by the way, made a heck of a play, who I've heard legendary stories about, by the way. Somebody tweeted me last night and said, you should talk more about Golden Tate. I was at a bar one time. They ran out of alcohol. It was like a Super Bowl party or something like that. Golden Tate walked in, I guess, or tried to order something. They said, sir, we're out of alcohol. We're shutting down. I guess he just whipped out a wad of hundreds, like a lot of them, and said, you guys can go buy some more bottles. Let's do this thing. We understand it's going to be like a 10, 15-minute wait. And they waited. They went and bought more alcohol, came back. Let's do it again. Open the club back up. I guess Golden Tate, he has that catch in that snow thing where they threw him a beer, he snagged it, and he chugged it. Golden Tate is an electric individual, but with only Golden Tate and only Danny Dimes, you have to assume that the Patriots are going to dominate that game. They didn't early, and that's why my thing was a storm, a buzz about me being wrong. While I'm calling a college game, by the way, on ESPN, I'm trying to focus on my task at hand. I'm trying to see what people are enjoying, what they're not enjoying. And all I'm being told is that I'm wrong, and I need to stop locking it up, which, by the way, all of my friends have told me numerous times in the past that every time I get on this horse, I end up screwing everybody over because I'm always – not in the NFL, though. I've done that in the NHL. I've done that in the MLB. Not in the NFL, though. When I get on top of that high horse and I start screaming with my hammer – I'm normally pretty right. Last night I was. Second half came back to be. Tom Brady and that Patriots team really came together. It was awesome to watch. I got a chance to watch it late night. I also got a chance to watch Keyshawn Johnson tell A.J. Green to demand a trade. That's a whole other story that people will be talking about, I assume. Didn't know Keyshawn Johnson was still on television. He is 3 a.m. Sports Center. And he's electric. And he was electric, by the way. I really enjoyed it. I don't mind Keyshawn Johnson on television. I don't know what happened to him, to be honest.
Yeah, I always thought he was good on Sunday NFL Countdown.
I thought so, too. Now he's 3 a.m. Sports Center. Probably lives out in L.A., I'd assume. Has a pretty good life, very relaxed. But he told A.J. Green to demand a trade, which I like, by the way. Now there's rumors. Remix. Now there's rumors. Foxy, what could have possibly happened here? Is the BTS fan base getting into our system? Now his microphone doesn't work.
Yeah, I was jogging through some clips, and the people are saying thing went through. Oh. That's on me.
Hey, that thing has gone through a couple times. People are saying segment is getting a bit antsy. That thing.
People are saying a lot of things.
Do you want to do it right now? Time.
Saying.
Unbelievable. The time for the best segment in radio. Foxy, please.
People are saying.
Video didn't run, so the people that are watching,
Offsides.
New fan. Oh, now it's.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Foxy.
People are saying that this show is going to be the most viewed show that we have ever had because I believe all of South Korea is potentially watching right now because of our fanhood with BTS. People are saying, people being Michael Lombardi, who has been in the NFL a long time in the first hour, that the Jags, the Browns, and the Carolina Panthers are his locks of this weekend, which is very interesting. I think you should be listening to that. People are saying that Alberto Riveron is ruining the game of football at a professional level. People are saying that Alberto Riveron shouldn't even be a ref in the XFL. People are saying that Alberto Riveron, if you see him calling a game Friday Night Lights, know that your team, who has fought all week getting ready for prom, it will be ruined and screwed by a guy that doesn't know the football rules. And that guy just so happens to be the head of all refs, and he's making the game a lot worse. People are saying Alberto Riveron needs to be canned stat.
Hasselbeck made a good point when we were talking to him, and then you reiterated in the first hour about how these guys are getting paid too much. So what's the
explain that a little bit more? The people that are good refs are taking gigs from television networks who are paying them, I would assume, a much more handsome amount of money for a lot less pressure. You can't blame Steratore. You can't blame Pereira. You can't blame Blandino. Whenever a TV network says, hey, is there any way you would just come sit in a room, watch games, and then whenever we cut a camera to you, we'll put makeup on you, make you look better. You won't have to actually make any decisions. You'll just be able to give your expert opinion. You won't have to really train for anything, and we'll pay you more money than what you're making now. You can't blame the good refs of the NFL for leaving. John Perry for leaving and going and doing this. But you can blame the NFL for not choosing to pay them more than what the networks are paying them, because that is a direct reflection on the outcome of games. And people are saying that's a mistake by the NFL.
Right. So if that's the case, then what's the disadvantage of making him a scapegoat and just bringing one of these other guys in to do the same thing that he's doing right now?
It seems like any buffoon could do what Alberto Riveron's doing right now. And Todd said this in the first hour. Todd McComas, by the way, he was currently on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. The last half hour of the show will be dedicated to the phones. We don't get to the phones often because mostly the people that call in stink. Like I appreciate the people that listen to the show. I know you can choose other things, but when you choose to call into the show, you are asking to be a part of the show. And to do that, no offense, I like to have an electric show. So whenever you call in and it's not, that's fine. Just call into another show. Don't call into this one. No offense will be had if you go somewhere else and don't call in. But if you do call in, let's add to the show because people are listening. A lot of people potentially listening today due to our fanhood of BTS finally being exposed, which, I mean, people try to make me look bad for being a BTS fan. And I said, I don't feel bad. They are so talented. I am a BTS fan for life. And people are like, you shouldn't say that publicly. I'm like, no, I don't. I want people to know this. I'm okay if I'm a mouthpiece for gang. I'm okay if I'm a mouthpiece for the BTS fans. I'm okay if people know that I like K-pop and BTS at a rapid level. I'm okay with that. But what Todd said in the first hour was that the review job is one that he thinks he could do. Todd, by all accounts, should not be in the NFL. Todd McComas, 21 years state police detective here in Indiana, known legend, has solved a lot of crimes, has done a lot of good for the world. No reason at all Todd McComas should be in the NFL. Wasn't even really that massive of an NFL. He was a Colts fan, but sports in general wasn't really that big until he was forced to be one coming here. Right, Todd?
That is correct.
Todd said, who is a very sane man, very... He's very sane. He's a sane man.
Before 8 p.m. usually.
Yes,
yeah.
Sane man.
Yeah.
Said, I think I could do the review job. And I agree with that. I believe that everybody who's watching the game has the ability to make the call from home because they're watching the same clips that Alberto Riveron is watching. And everybody goes, oh, there's no way this guy is getting paid all this money to do this, and he isn't even better than me and my Uncle Bubba here in the living room watching the same damn clips. I actually started to think, you know what, I would never want to be a ref. It's a lot of dedication. You got to take a lot of tests. You got to read a lot. Just not my thing. none of those are my things. But I wouldn't mind being the review guy. And I thought since I've hammered this guy so hard, and now I've gotten the commissioner involved, I've added the commissioner, I thought there was going to be a chance where they come back and be like, well, if it's so easy, why don't you do it? And I actually said, if that gets offered to me, I will do it. I will absolutely do it. John Perry talked about on his first night of Monday Night Football, which is where I forgot how much I liked John Perry from whenever we were playing, because he started off so cold on Monday Night Football. He was like, yesterday I had to sit and watch 11 hours of football in that, what do they call it? The
war room?
The war room for refs or whatever. And he said, gave me a whole new appreciation for it. He was talking about how that was bad. I watch 11 hours of football on Sunday, normally hold up in a hotel room where we're watching on a laptop and one thing, an iPhone on another, screen that we're hacking in from like Germany on one and then another one. I think it would be incredible to be there. And to have an actual input to make the game better would be an honor. I think this is a job that people should want to have. Mm-hmm. And it feels like Alberto Riveron just forgets that he's representing a lot of things. I think Alberto Riveron has forgotten that a lot of things are on the line with every decision that he decides to mess up. If he's being stubborn in deciding that this pass interference review should not be in the game, I think Commissioner Goodell, who was a part of the meetings, the owners' meetings, who decided that pass interference review should be in the game, they decided it. So is Alberto Riveron smarter than you, Goodell? Is he smarter than the 32 owners that decided to pass this review? Is Alberto Riveron better for the game than the owners of the NFL and the rules committee that made this happen and everybody else? Is Alberto Riveron more important to the National Football League? Because that's how he's acting.
Yes.
He's acting that the new rule is not real football. Alberto Riveron is acting like the reviewing of pass interference should not be in the game. Even though what happened in New Orleans was an absolute travesty, a farce, a nightmare situation, and they said, listen, we got to fix this because this happens far too often because pass interferences are such big plays in the game that if a ref gets it wrong, we have to be able to correct it. We have to. It's just such an important part of the game now with all the passing. We used to run the ball a lot. Now it's just a lot of passing. Pass interference happens. It flips games. We have to be able to review it just so we can save the integrity of the game. The Rules Committee, who are a bunch of very, very, very good football minds, came together and voted on that. And Alberto Riveron has decided, nope, I'm smarter than you, all of you. I'm better than you, all of you. And my brain's better than all of yours, and I'm not going to overturn it because the refs on the field don't deserve it. And I say this, Alberto Riveron, you stink. At your job. I don't know you as a person. I'm on a lot of screens. A lot of people watch me, so I have to clarify that. Obviously, I'm not talking about Alberto Riveron, the human. I'm just talking about how god-awful he is at his current position. And honestly, just like Jason Witten on Monday Night Football, this is going to ruin the Alberto Riveron legacy. Mm-hmm. Alberto Riveron, probably a good ref on the field. I don't remember if he was or not. But all anybody's going to remember is how he was awful at being the review guy. And that's a shame for Alberto. Now I feel bad for Alberto Riveron because of how bad he is at his job.
I hate what it's doing to the game, but there's this little part inside of me that respects the hell out of how stubborn he is on the reversal of these calls. Like, there is no chance that he is reversing any of these, no matter how blatant it is, in any asset of the game. He just doesn't care. He really just doesn't care.
I don't think he cares at all. And what he's doing is making the on-field refs look even worse. And Alberto Riveron should remember that whenever you're on the field and you got 60,000 people booing you, or last night I guess they didn't because it went in the favor of the – has it gone in the favor of the home team every time? Because the TY offensive pass interference that was a phantom call on Sunday Night Football, that was good for Kansas City, not good for the Colts. This one here, no, because Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. And the Packers, too, on the goal line. A couple of those were on that Thursday night game.
I just got a text from Mike Florio. I'm asking him if I'm allowed to read what he said. Okay, he said, yes, I've written it and said it multiple times before. I was Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk, the guy that started Pro Football Talk. I don't know if he's listening currently. If he is, by the way, Mike Florio, thanks for watching and listening. To all the BTS fans, thank you for watching and listening. We're big-time BTS fans over here. Also, noted Pro Football Talk fans because Mike Florio has all the scoops on scoops. He's a Paisan. I mean, he went to West Virginia. He's all these things. I was told by someone in the know is what Mike Florio just said. And Mike Florio, by the way, not only is he Italian, so he definitely knows somebody in the know, but he's also been doing this for a long time and definitely does know someone in the know. I was told by someone in the know that someone told Riveron before week 1 to push the bar up. I think that someone was very high up in the NFL. I don't know what that means for push the bar up. I have no idea what that means.
Raise the bar.
We'd have to ask Mike.
Does that mean raise the bar and make it more difficult to get
Yes.
pass interference calls?
Yep.
I don't know how last night you wouldn't call that. I don't know how last night wasn't a tackle. I don't know how. I think it was it the Packers against the
Eagles.
Packers-Eagles. I don't know how those two weren't.
Right.
I don't know what the bar needs to be, but if I'm a corner now, by the way, and I know that these things aren't going to get overturned, I guess you're just kind of a roll of the dice live play that the live refs won't call it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to know that if there isn't a flag down, nothing's coming. And if the flag is down, it's not coming back. It's such an interesting situation. I just think Alberto Riveron happens to be. But you know what? With Goodell's silence is deafening at this point.
Yeah.
Him not saying a single thing about it, and everybody's saying that Goodell's kind of disappeared, which he has, by the way, gearing up for these new CBA negotiations. He can't be out there being hated by everybody. They kind of had him disappear. You haven't heard much of a Roger Goodell right now. The only person being hated in the NFL is Alberto Riveron. That's literally the only human that's getting bashed right now is Alberto Riveron. Goodell has been oddly quiet through all of it. Very oddly quiet. Not just through this situation, but this entire season.
I don't know if you could touch on this or not. There's been a lot of other people who've been oddly quiet. Like Florio's talked about it, and other like reporters on Twitter and stuff like that I've seen. But like the big shows, the other big talk shows, I have not seen them talk about it either. Is that?
I wonder if it's because the NFL negotiations TV rights are up for people.
That's why people listen to this show.
Yeah, but that also. I mean, we're on DAZN. This might be our baptism into corporate America, right? This might be our baptism into the corporate world where there's a lot of things happening way above our head that could potentially trickle down. I have not been slapped on the wrist yet by anybody for talking about it. You're right, though. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about Alberto Riveron, and maybe that's why ours is doing so well. YouTube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. What's that?
Here's another question. How long do you think until the coaches just tap out and stop throwing these challenge flags because they're just losing
that's
the
the goal.
timeout?
They have to. I think that's probably the goal. The goal is to probably have people stop challenging pass interference unless it's a New Orleans Saints situation where it's peak and very important to the game. But a lot of these have been very important to the game.
Right.
I honestly don't know what the goal of this whole thing is. I have no idea why Alberto Riveron's acting like this. I have no idea why Goodell hasn't mentioned just something. This is a very new rule. A very pivotal part of the game has changed with the ability to challenge a play that is potentially worth 50 yards, 45 yards, 35 yards, an automatic first down, extending drives. These calls are big-time calls, and the ability to review it is a big-time decision that the NFL had to make, and nobody has said anything about it. It's very weird, and I think at some point, something's going to have to give. Our show might not be big enough to force the hand of Roger Goodell, because I've said this on Twitter. I've actually got a chance to chat with Goodell on 2 different occasions, one-on-one. One right before the draft when I went up on stage and he said, "This is what you're wearing." And I was like, "Oh, no. I'm about to get kicked out," because I had jeans on. They were kind of pegged up. I had a sports coat on and a button down that we bought hours before that I was going to wear a T-shirt. So I wore the button down just to class it up a little bit because the NFL draft deserved it. There's 200,000 people. It was a big deal. I didn't have a tie on. It wasn't in full suit. So his first thing was me, "This is what you're wearing." But then we had a real conversation for like 3 minutes. And I'm sure Goodell has a very wild life. There's no way he remembers that conversation. But I walked away from that conversation going, you know what? Not as terrible of a guy as I once thought. And I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of character, by the way. I feel like I have a pretty good read on people. He's in a tough position where you can't make everybody happy. No matter what you do, you're going to make somebody happy. Also, he's the voice, the mouthpiece for 32 billionaires or 31 billionaires and Ty Schmidt and others that own the Packers. That is a very tough position to be, to balance these incredible business people who are very rich and very snobby and have had everything in life, the finest of fine. And then you also have to balance discipline and everything like that. He's in a bad. Has he made poor decisions? Yes. I think he has definitely made poor decisions, but I think he's also in a tough spot, but he's grossly overpaid for it. So he'll take that every time, and you're allowed to judge him. He's in a position where you're allowed to judge him. But I think in conversations with him, I think he's actually a pretty good guy. But with this not chatting about this Alberto Riveron, I'll call it a controversy. This is a full-on controversy.
For sure.
It was once a situation. Now it is a controversy because last night, 85% of the money was on the Patriots in gambling. And that pass interference, phantom pass interference that wasn't called or whatever, that got reviewed and still wasn't called, would have won against that. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people had money on the game, aside from the Giants fans who expected to lose, and it wasn't the only thing that would change is coverage, not the actual win-loss. So not a lot of people are as loud about this as they could be. But this is happening in big-time games and big-time situations. As sports gambling continues to grow, they're going to be in a bad spot if this guy just keeps fornicating it up every single time. I mean, at some point, Goodell's going to have to say something.
What makes this more weird, there was a major rule change last year with the personal fouls on just normal-ass tackles. And there was so much backlash that they actually, like, they stopped.
Reset.
They stopped calling it. But this year, I think there's the same amount of backlash, but you're hearing nothing at all.
It's very interesting. 11:21 here. We got to get to a break. Last night when I watched everything happen, I was like, okay, Patriots covered. Alberto Riveron stinks. I was excited for this show. But the more and more we talk about how bad Alberto Riveron is, and the more and more I hear less from Goodell about it, the more and more I'm thinking this is not going to change.
Right.
It's depressing.
It is. It's almost dragging me down.
This music isn't.
But good thing there's some K-pop in my ears. That'll bring me back to life. Feel good, BTS, Friday, 11:22. We know this isn't BTS. We can't play BTS because we don't have rights to real music. But this makes me feel good. 11:22. Big thanks to BTS. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Ah, it sounds so good, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Welcome back to BTS Friday here on the Pat McAfee Show. We know that isn't BTS. We can't play their music strictly because we don't have the rights, but we dream one day to be able to do so. What's up?
If you could play, a lot of people are asking, what are some of your favorite BTS songs?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. My favorite one was that one that they played at that one time. It was
the
Euphoria.
show one?
Yeah, Euphoria. Yeah, remember I did that at
Yeah.
that thing. I tweeted about it. I was like, hey, these kids, whenever they get out here and they perform this Euphoria song, I have this euphoric feeling that takes me back to a time where everything was beautiful. Everything was good. Because that is what K-pop is all about, and BTS in particular. Whenever they are performing, they just lift my soul. And I think Euphoria is probably the perfect song title, not only for that particular song, because they don't make bad decisions when they're picking beats of music, but also for just basically the entire feel of what K-pop does to me. Big shout out to the BTS fan gang, okay, for following along. We've been around for about a year and a half now, big BTS fans. People have told me not to talk about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about it. I'm not scared as a 32-year-old American male who's done a lot of things in my life to be a diehard BTS fan.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are. I mean, that's what we do.
You like what you like, you know?
It's not my fault.
Nope.
Apparently, we're not the only ones. People have talked about who do I like in the World Series on Twitter. People have talked. Who do you like in the World Series? When I say this, I mean this. I think I'm a Yankees fan.
Mm-hmm.
Not only because I took a pee next to Rudy Giuliani, told him good luck in the Yankee Stadium there in the Bronx. I told him good luck. He said good luck to you too. He and I are living two very different worlds. I told him good luck for a lot of different reasons. But I appreciate him wishing me luck. Maybe he knew the show. You know? Maybe his two security guys that he had swoop in, swoop out, give him the Purell. Maybe they're big fans of the show.
I sent him the memo in our group chat.
You're in Rudy Giuliani's group chat?
Paisan group chat.
Oh, just all the Italians. He is a member of the Italian club. Michael Lombardi joined us earlier. I should have mentioned that Giuliani and I peed next to each other at the Yankees game. But I think I am a Yankees fan because the Yankees feel like a team that try to win. They're a team that is not scared to empty a bank account to get good players in there. They were good whenever I was growing up. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Pirates stink. Bob Nutting is one of the worst owners in sports history, but not enough people know about him because the Pirates don't exist in a lot of people's world, much like the Sacramento Kings. Nutting is a terrible owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. There's no way I could have been a Pirates fan because I like being happy. That's why I like BTS. I like enjoying my life, and the Pirates just weren't an enjoyable experience as a child, especially when you're in a town with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. I enjoyed life, so I wasn't going to just, you know what, this sport that is kind of slow and there's a lot going on, I'm going to be a fan of this team that absolutely sucks. That didn't happen for me. I wish I had that type of fanhood.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense.
I wish I was that type of fan to things, but I'm just not. I know I'm going to die young. I don't have time just to invest in things that stink perpetually.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pirates do. The Pirates perpetually stink. So I never got into the baseball. Then I played professional baseball about a year ago in 2 days. Professionally. Stepped in a batter's box, stared down a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Got good wood, got on base. You can watch that now. Store it at PatMcAfeeShow.com and watch a $3.33 greatest comedic sports documentary in history, people are saying. My first time ever on. But going to that playoff game for the Bronx Bombers and watching glorious D.D. Gregorius hit a grand slam and see everything in the pageantry and the electricity, and they were chanting Uber at the other pitcher. It was just an environment that I think I could get behind. And it's technically really the only baseball game I've been to. I think I'm a Yankees fan, but Ty tells me, who knows the baseball, that this is year probably they are going to make a run. So it's a good time for me to become a fan of them.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I'm a little bit of a homer, but they are. I personally think they are the best team in baseball. The Astros are very good, but they just went to 5 games with the Rays. Yankees swept, so they have, everyone's a little bit more rested. You mentioned him, D.D. Gregorius. He's kind of like the guy. If he is playing the way he is right now and hitting the way he is right now, with everything else they have in that lineup, they're going to be very, very tough to beat.
And who's coming from the other side there? Because the Yankees are in the
American League.
Of course, the ALDS is what we want to. We could have had a baseball, which would have helped me remind that.
Oh, come on.
Pat McAfee Show 2.0 podcast from yesterday. Here, an entire story about a grown man getting bodied at a playoff baseball game and losing not only an opportunity for a ball, but a memory that will last a lifetime. Thanks to our friends at SeatGeek who put us in that position. And thanks to Foxy for failing in that position for us to talk about forever. Foxy, I think even your mom, who's a day one supporter of Evan Fox, as you should be. You're an incredible editor. You're a hardworking man. But in that particular moment, when you got body bagged by the guy next to you for a foul ball in the playoffs in Yankee Stadium, would never be forgotten. And I think even your mom's embarrassed about it, that she has to claim you as a child for that moment. I think.
Do you think if Rudy Giuliani was sitting where I was sitting, he's going to allow himself to get body bagged?
His security guys, they pick up that guy that was next to you, dump him out of the stadium. Then they whip that Purell right out of their jacket, clean their hands of it, and they get that ball and they leave immediately. Rudy Giuliani might give it to a kid because he got some bad PR going on right now, so he might give it to a kid. But I think Rudy Giuliani gets that ball very unlike what you did out there. It was just embarrassing.
This is not over, though. This isn't over because we're big Yankees fans now. We're going to go to the World Series game.
Yes, we are. Foxy got bodied.
Come
at the Yankees.
on, Zito.
He did. The graphic says Foxy got bodied at the Yankees game because facts only. If it makes it onto that graphic at the bottom, it is a fact. We were big BTS fans, and Foxy embarrassed all of us at a game when he got bodied by a guy next to him named Pat.
This isn't over.
But with that being said, in the AL, the Yankees are definitely going to go. That's just the way it is.
It's going to be a good series against the
Incredible
Astros,
series.
but yes, I believe the Yankees are going to win in 6.
Okay, and then they will go on to the World Series.
Correct.
And play against
either the Nationals or the Cardinals.
Which I've been saying this entire time, don't let the wood get hot for the Nationals.
You have been saying that quite a bit as
I've been hammering home that sit dead red oppo is what's going to happen if you let the Nationals wood start to catch fire like NBA jams. And that is what has happened in that Nationals penthouse, clubhouse, locker room, baseball team. But that Mike Schmeltz guy from the Cardinals dropping F-bombs everywhere, motivating that team. I think the baseball world got it right here. I think we have 4 teams that are going to be electrifying, and I can't wait for the Yankees to win the World Series against the St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, that's a strong play. Typically, the Nationals have been chokers. This is the first time they've ever gone to the NLCS. So Cardinals, well-oiled machine, proven winners. I think that's the safe play.
It's going to be fun, too, whenever we get a chance to go to a World Series game there at Yankee Stadium and kind of watch Foxy just get buried and trampled on again and just kind of just get deboed out of a good situation. And that's our World Series conversation. That's baseball talk. We're big baseball guys here. We're big hockey people here, too, as well. Let's go Pens. And also massive K-pop fans. Straight to the phones on the other side. 11:34, you're listening to the Pat McAfee Show.
Spiked them.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. It is a beautiful BTS K-pop Friday here. My Korean fiance and I love listening to K-pop. It is absolutely our favorite thing to do. We are very thankful that we are potentially in the BTS Twitter world right now. Yet again, been a fan for a long time, and we're having a great Friday thanks to our friends at BTS. Can't play their music because we don't have the rights, but as soon as we walk out of the studio, just like we do every day, what's going on, boys?
Euphoria.
BTS. BTS.
All right, let's go straight to the phones here. We got to knock them out. I completely forgot Justin Forsett will be joining us. Can't wait to chat with him about his business ventures, the shower pill, which has been talked about in locker rooms for a long time. If you don't shower, you just rub that thing on your clean. And also about, maybe running backs in the NFL. But before that, let's get to the phones. Brian in Canton, Ohio. What's up, bub?
Hey, Pat. I wanted to get your take on these overseas games and if anything's going to change with the current CBA and the possibility of a 17-game season, 8 home, 8 away, and 1 neutral.
Brian, I love what you're saying. You're speaking my mind right there. I think the new CBA will add a game. I think there'll be 17 games in the NFL season. I think it's a win-win. The NFL always wanted 18. The players like, no, we stay at 16. We're banged up. We're beat up. We play on Thursdays. We play around the globe. We don't want to add a game. Well, they're like, well, what if we just – in perfect scale with the games, we add another check to everybody's thing. We give you an extra bye week so there's a little bit more recovery. Plus, we count in the Thursday games, which we know we hate, but you use that extended weekend as another little break. 3 breaks a weekend throughout the season. I think the players will agree to that. I think it'll be more money made for everybody. Plus, you have to add an extra 2 weeks onto the season. In the neutral game, they can get fun. I don't think the NFL will ever exist in Europe. I don't think it works. As somebody that played in England, I don't think that will be a viable option for some time due to like the facilities and working out players and this travel schedule and the way it goes over there. I don't think it'll ever work. They're going to have to do a lot of work to figure that out. Rich Eisen and I were texting about it literally this morning because he's over there right now. And I think he kind of agrees with me. He's like the voice of the NFL, so he can't say anything both to me or publicly. But I asked him a lot of questions about how it would work, and he gave me a lot of, they would have to figure it out. And I think there's a lot to figure out for that. But I do like the game being exposed to new fan bases because I think our sport is a good one. Even though Alberto Riveron stinks. Let's go to Noah in Dayton, Ohio. DYT, what's up, Noah? Noah in the Bible has the first documented blackout. Noah was a man that was whispered in his ear to build an ark because there's a flood coming. Mm-hmm. Noah was a guy that everybody called a crazy person. Noah ended up stacking every animal and creature on the planet 2 by 2 into his ark, and there wasn't one single problem with everybody getting along. In nature, where predators would kill prey because they're hungry, in that ark, something euphoric happened. Noah from in the Bible is a guy that people talk about. Noah from Dayton, though, stinks. Jarrett in Green Bay, what's up, dude?
Hey, man, there's a lot of hype around Rodgers and LaFleur, but I think Rodgers has been incredibly average for his standards. Do you think Rodgers and LaFleur will turn it on the second half, or do you think that Rodgers has hit his peak for the year with LaFleur? I think I don't know, man.
Hot taker there from Jared. Yeah. I think anybody with a brain would argue that Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur are just now figuring each other out. And that offense, for the first time, without their best weapon in Devontae Adams, was winning the game by itself. The offensive strategy, the offensive checks, the run game, and Aaron Rodgers being able to slice and dice like Aaron Rodgers always does, they're finally starting to gel. Have they peaked? Will they be able to perform that well? Let's assume that when you add Devontae Adams to a team that it's going to get better than worse. I think they're just now learning about each other, but I love the fact that Jarrett guy who's from Green Bay will walk into a Packers bar and be like, I don't know. I don't know. After the biggest win of the year and also finally showing signs of life on the offensive side of the ball. Have they peaked? That Jarrett guy is hilarious. I can already tell he's hilarious, and I can already tell that he walks into a lot of problems whenever he opens his mouth, and I think he cherishes it and loves it. Jarrett is a natural heel, and I can respect that, but that was one of the dumbest things I ever said on my show.
I mean, the only reason that people could make that argument is because he's just not throwing as many touchdowns as he usually does, but they're still scoring points.
But that means the offense is working.
Exactly.
So that's good for LaFleur, good for Aaron Rodgers, good for the Packers. They got a defense as well. Let's go to Brent in Louisville.
Hey, Pat. You all touched on it a couple times with A.J. Green and trade rumors. I think he's too humble to force a trade. He emulates Larry Fitzgerald out in Arizona. But should the Bengals trade him, I think it was Jason La Canfora that reported that several GMs would be willing to trade first-round picks for him. Is that a pick you use to build, or is A.J. Green the perfect guy for a new quarterback coming in next year?
Brent, incredible question. Well thought out on all fronts. I agree with you with the humble thing. I think that's why Keyshawn Johnson and other wide receivers are going to start speaking for him. Whether A.J. Green likes it or not, I think a lot of wide receivers that are on television hate seeing A.J. Green's career getting wasted with the Bengals. With that being said, if you trade away for a first-round pick, which a lot of people need a deep threat like A.J. Green, you have to expect that you're going to do something good with it. So you get a first-round pick. The Redskins gave away 4 first-round picks, but even if they had those first-round picks, they're probably not going to do anything with it anyways. The next quarterback that comes in, is he going to be better than Andy Dalton? Let's assume he might have more success, but if that team continues to stink, who cares? I think Mike Brown, not a great owner. He was in our 4 worst owners poll on Poll the People on the internet. I'm not sure he has a clue what he's doing. I'm not sure he cares, by the way. I think Mike Brown is raking in paychecks. He rakes in cash. They don't have an indoor facility. Their food stinks. They're old school. They're a throwback team. Well, I'll tell you what, in this modern world where there's like hot tubs and stuff, it is not fun being a hot tub or a throwback team, especially if you want to acquire younger talent.
AJ Green also a free agent after this year, so you might as well get something before he probably.
They said he had an ankle injury first day of training camp, and he has not played football since. Is he even in shape right now to go play? If he gets traded somewhere, who knows? Everybody would like to have AJ Green because he's been able to do a lot with very little in Cincinnati. Let's pivot here real quick. Stay in the AFC North, though. A running back who performed very well for the Baltimore Ravens. Now he's a businessman. He was on Shark Tank. He can sing incredibly well, which we will force him to do before we go out here. I'm not sure he can sing as well as the BTS guys. Friend of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Forsett.
Yo, what's up, man?
Justin, great to hear from you. You look incredibly nice today. What are you up to?
A couple business meetings out here in Arkansas.
Okay, you're meeting with Walmart. That's awesome. I hope the shower pill gets in there. I hope you get into Walmart. That's incredible. I would like to talk about your business ventures post-football because it's not only been inspirational, but it's been fantastic as another businessman post-NFL. It's fun to watch you succeed. But let's talk about your NFL career as a running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Going into this season, everybody thought the Ravens were going to change football. They're going to have 3 tight ends. They got a running quarterback. They're going to run the ball. They're going to keep it on the ground. Then they got Hollywood Brown, who has become an explosive player for them, and things have changed. They started throwing the ball 43 times. Lamar Jackson has kind of looked average, to be honest with you, even though they got a big win with Pittsburgh. What are you expecting out of this new offense from Baltimore, and are they ever going to find their identity?
Man, I think, the sky's still the limit for these guys. Lamar Jackson, I don't really think we've scratched the surface on what he can be. He's been doing some phenomenal things, on the ground, being able to show this year that he can throw the football down the field. He's got a wonderful connection with the tight end, and he's got a great run game behind him. He's used his legs when he has to. But I think this offense can be a dominant force in this league for a while if they keep this unit together. They got some really key players there, a lot of speed built around him. So it's a fast offense.
Okay, so the AFC North is very much up for grabs. Let's pivot to business in the NFL. Ezekiel Elliott was a holdout. Melvin Gordon was a holdout. Lev Bell was a holdout. It feels like the running back position, which you played very, very well, has the sense that their value is not where it should be anymore in the NFL. Now, granted, it has worked out for those guys. Melvin Gordon, I don't think, has gotten a long-term deal yet, but let's assume that him holding out will help him at some point so everybody knows where he stands with this thing. How do you feel about the running back position as a state and business-wise?
I love it. I love that guys are standing their ground. They know their worth, and they're going to fight for it. I know Melvin Gordon has not gotten his deal yet, but I think it's coming soon. But the running back position is only devalued 2 times throughout the year. That's during the draft and free agency. When we're talking about playoff football, we're talking about championship football, you got to have a dominant run game. We see it time and time again every year, year in, year out. You need a great run game and you need a solid defense to be a championship team. And that's not going to change anytime soon. So I love the stance that they're taking. I hope everybody gets their money. I wish I could get one of just a percentage of Zeke's contract. But yeah, it's great to see.
That is very funny to talk about because anybody who knows football says in December and January, the way you win games is run the ball and stop the run. That is literally how you win games whenever the weather gets crazy, whenever bodies are banged up. You got to keep it on the ground and you got to win there. The Patriots, everybody talks about Tom Brady being the greatest of all time because he is. Incredible leader, has won a lot. Their run game is normally very, very good and never really talked about because of how handsome Tom Brady is, because of how good Julian Edelman is. The run game isn't talked about. That was an incredible take right there. It's only devalued a couple times. It only seems to be devalued, by the way, when it comes to business time. That's
right, exactly.
That's the only time it's ever devalued. Speaking of business time, this shower pill concept that you created and pitched on Shark Tank, shower pill has been something that has been said in NFL locker rooms, in college locker rooms since the beginning, probably high school locker rooms since the beginning of time. The first person in from practice and then on their way out from practice, everybody just yells shower pill because you're assuming that that person is grimy and hasn't showered. There has been players in the NFL that have gone to equipment managers and athletic trainers who had very low IQs, probably didn't do well in the Wonderlic, and have asked for a shower pill. They're like, excuse me, I hear that there's a shower pill. You took this incredible concept and idea and created a product that you pitched on Shark Tank, and now you're meeting with Walmart, I'd assume, in Arkansas. I don't know how many other companies are in Arkansas that would be doing this. What is the concept behind it? What is the idea behind it? And how is Shower Pill doing for you in the business world?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. Yeah, the concept, man, it came from an authentic place. You know, a real pain point with athletes. You know, constantly being on the go, running from one place to another, and it's even more so outside of the locker room that we see. Whether it's your soccer moms, your youth sports athletes, the campers and hikers of the world. So we took that concept where a shower was optimal but not possible, and we created a solution, and that's our body wipe, our disposable washcloth, an antibacterial towelette to remove sweat, dirt, and body odor. And it's been going well, man. Phenomenal. We're number one product in our category on Amazon. We're sold in the sporting goods section in Target throughout the country with full chain to all 1,800 of their stores and growing. We're launching into AFES, which is the Army Air Force Exchange stores. Talks with a lot of different other big box retailers. So things are moving along pretty well for us.
For a sec, you're supposed to be a stupid football player. You are supposed to be dumb. Optimal but not possible is an incredible tagline. That is absolutely incredible. Your business ventures, did you always know you're going to be a businessman, or was it just you saw an opportunity here and you have to learn everything to kind of figure it out?
Yeah, no, man. I was fortunate or unfortunate. I was fired 6 times throughout my career, and so I had to think about the end a lot and what I wanted to do if my career was over. And I looked at the statistic, and you've seen them before, where they're saying where as high as 80% of guys 2 years after they're done, they're bankrupt, divorced, and depressed. And I didn't want to be in that number. I saw guys like Roger Staubach, Emmitt Smith, saw guys like Magic Johnson, and Michael Strahan transition extremely well and use football and sports as a stepping stool for their next phase. And I wanted to be in that number and that statistic. And I saw a pain point, saw a problem, I aimed to solve it, and now we're running a business.
Golly, dude. That's awesome. I almost just dropped an F word right there because how jacked up I am. That just makes me feel so good right there, because whenever you're in the NFL, sometimes you're in organizations, by the way, where you think about the future, you almost get like shunned and scolded, like, oh, focus on your career right now. When you're in college, all they say is 90% of you aren't going to make the NFL. You should focus on school. Then when you get in the NFL, they're like, well, if you don't focus 100% on the NFL, you're not going to make it long here. It's like, well, when am I supposed to really focus on what's going to make me money? The ability to balance that and figure it out is not an easy one. It's impressive that you've been able to do that.
No, I appreciate it, man. I tell guys now that I go back and talk to is that the transition starts while you're playing. You can't wait till the end when you got to leverage that NFL shield, open up doors, figure out the things that you want to do, and start now. And that's kind of what I did. And I'm still learning, still growing. I just finished up Harvard Business School education, executive education for a semester this year. And I understand. I don't know it all, so I'm trying to get as much as I can and be coachable.
I'll tell you what, man. We got to get to a hard out here. The show is ending. I couldn't think of a better way to wrap up this incredible week we've had. We ended Dapgate. We buried Alberto Riveron. We got a chance to talk to a lot of incredible people like Josh Sitton, and to hear a success story, a happy story on this BTS Friday. We can't thank you enough, Justin Forsett. Good luck in that meeting, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a good one. He's a good guy. Being in that Walmart building, by the way, not easy. Not easy to do. And if you get in there and you get out with a deal, you're rich. You might be getting a percentage of that Zeke deal for sure. Can't thank everybody enough for this incredible week. We're living a dream life. I have no idea what's going to be next. I know we're in Stanford on Thursday. I have no clue what stories will come, what we'll say, what we'll do. But we're thankful everybody chooses to listen and watch because we're just trying to have a good time and change this landscape. By the way, my wrestling career might be starting somewhere other than WWE. Oh. There's a little nugget, a Friday news drop. We'll see how that all goes. This is Friday, October 11th. From all of us here in Indianapolis, Indiana! Thank you so much. I hope you have the greatest weekend of all time. I have no clue what's next. I hope it's a good show. Cheers. Thank you, Don. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, Don. Hey, we got into the BTS world, bro.